Hey guys, it's Suzanne Titkemeyer of No Longer Quivering from Pathos. I was getting ready to go take a shower and get ready to go to bed, but I ran across something very curious. It was just posted on not long ago on the Mail Online's website, the Daily Mail. Now we know that the Daily Mail is a tabloid, so I'm not going to say for 100% sure that anything they say about the Duggars is accurate, but I think we have to talk about it at the very least. Apparently, what they're saying is that Anna Duggar, she's pregnant, of course, has pretty much moved into the house where he's under house arrest for his things, the various things they've alleged against him. Apparently, she's moved into the suite with Josh. I'm not sure why, besides the fact that she is never going to give up on that marriage. That's one thing I know from Quiverful. Hey, small town Jewel, I'm late tonight. I'm feeling okay, but I have these codeine lace Tylenols they gave me that are actually helping. I feel a lot better as a result. And we haven't got the test back yet because they had to do the PCR when they call it, the long one. So who knows? Who knows when he'll get that back? Probably 24 hours. So, long story short, I'm reading this article in the Daily Mail about the Duggars, and it says that Anna has moved into the suite with him at the LeCount and Maria Reber home. That's kind of pushing it. If that's some truth to that, that's true at all, then I could see the Rebers having a problem with that. Even if there's marriage, they're married. I'm sorry. With Fundytown and with Quiverful, marriage is above all else the most important thing they'll teach you. I have to laugh because I've seen this play out in my old church, something very similar to what's going on with Josh and Anna Duggar. And it took a lot of, I don't want to say therapy because my pastor was not really equipped for therapy, but he did a lot of outreach with the lady who was in a similar situation and advised her to divorce her husband. And that's kind of groundbreaking because you don't hear that much in Funky Town or in Quiverfold. No one gets divorced. I feel very sorry for their kids too. Their kids are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of this. If he's convicted and goes away, the kids have to bear the brunt of that. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. I hope that Anna has enough sense to give those kids help if he goes away because they're going to need it. They're going to need some kind of counseling. I'm not happy about the news about Josh or the news about Anna at all. I met her and I thought she seemed a lot more reasonable and normal than pretty much anyone else that I met that day with the Duggar family. Um, and the other thing with the children is the children aren't even staying with her. The children, according to the article, are with her family. And it mentioned Patricia and the fabulous David Waller, that the children were staying with them more than anyone else, which they don't live in Arkansas, so that would make that even harder. I don't know how. I don't know if they've come up to Arkansas to help out or what's going on. The article goes on to say that Anna is fighting with Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar and the other Duggars, that they're not getting along. And I think there's some truth to that, only because I keep hearing it again and again. I've heard it from several people who are unnamed Duggar insiders. I'm just going to throw that out there. And the British tabloids keep talking about it like it's a real thing, like the Duggars are not being supportive of Anna. I don't know. I suspect what's happened with the family is they've probably had a pretty serious reality check, and they know that they cannot be supporting Josh publicly. It's probably, I'm guessing, rock their world, rock their bedrock beliefs, And they're now questioning a lot of things, I have a feeling. As a parent, when your child is in their 30s and they start doing crazy things, like what Josh is alleged to have done, it makes sense that the parents would be not on board with all of this and would not be supporting Anna, even though they did when Josh went away for having been a member of Ashley Madison and all the things he did then. And when it came out that he had molested his sisters, both times, both Jim Bob and Michelle were right there, Johnny on the spot, to explain all this away, to talk to the press, to say it's nobody's business. This time, it's crickets. It's utter silence. We're not hearing much of anything out of the Duggar camp. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Like I said, the seriousness of the charges. Why is that? I'm going on a lot of my position. Seriousness of the charges would make anybody step back and think about supporting, not supporting. So her family members are the ones that are taking care of the children. And there's some mention, too, of the Reaver's daughter getting ready to marry one of Anna's brothers. And I find that the most curious timing of all about this whole thing. Here's the thing. I don't know if they got covenant marriage. I don't know if Josh and Anna got covenant marriage. Makes it a lot harder to get divorced, but it's not impossible. Do you know if it's true if Josh and Anna's kids will not have any protection if they have to testify? What do you mean by protection, Small Town Jewel? I'm curious about that. I don't know if they've been questioned yet. I'm sure they have. There's been attempts, but I do know that the way that the Duggars handle these things is when the police want to come in and talk to minor children, the parents usually say no, and they usually put up a lot of fronts. We saw that after what happened with Josh and the media attention and the Duggars getting off-duty police officers to work security at their house. And one of the off-duty police officers saw something that gave him pause. And because police are like social workers and firemen and doctors, nurses, they're all mandatory reporters. So if they see anything squishy, they have to report it. This officer did report it, and what happened was the Duggar family refused to let social services to come in the house and talk to anybody. They refused CPS. Hey, Bliss Chris, I'm just jumping on here talking about the newest Duggar news so I can scoop somebody. I don't like her to be the first. She's stolen so much Duggar content and various things through the years that's one thing I will jump on. I will jump on and talk about it, particularly with something like this that is in the British newspapers and they're swearing is the god awful truth. So here's the thing. If their children testify, okay, I am not 100% sure what they're going to do on that, but here's what I do know. They have made an announcement that they are not going to release the names of any of the witnesses under the age of 18. The courts have said that they're going to protect the testimony and the names. That would extend to Anna and Josh's children as well. And if it gets if it becomes a big deal, then one of the things that will happen is the courts will appoint a guardian ad litem for those children who will represent their best interests and may even have to go to court and say, my client does not have any kind of information that would make any kind of a difference. I'm asking the judge to just deny any of that. That might happen too. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for sure. But the courts have said that they're going to protect all the identities and the testimonies of anyone under 18 testifying as well. They should. There's a reason that you don't see as many people under 18 testifying. It's hard on kids. We don't know if kids always have the best amount of, I'm just going to say, boundaries or even honesty, or even being able to correctly interpret what's going on. That was my thing the other day when I was talking about Brian Houston and his father. Brian knew, and he had talked about what his father had done, and he talked about it in an investigation, apparently. I was saying that if this all occurred when he was a child, he may not have known what he was looking at, but obviously that wasn't the case. I don't know. This case is one of those things where we're sitting back and we're watching to see what the courts are going to do. They've already said they're going to protect the children, they're going to protect their identities. They need to do that. Even if his kids testify, they need to have someone representing them and looking after their best interest and making sure that their testimony is not going to be flogged about in public for various internet T channels to talk about. They're going to try to protect those kids in every way they can, which they should. She's spitballing if she says that because the court's already ruled anyone under 18, they're going to protect them or protect their testimony. I think it would be very odd if they decided not to let the children of the accused speak without offering them the exact same protection they're going to offer anybody else underage that's going to testify. I would think that that would, if they did that, that would violate some kind of legality or laws or rules that are in place for the child witnesses. I don't know. I can't see it happening. I know she was saying no. I can't see that happening. Oh, so um, Anna still thinks Josh is innocent and is believing his ridiculous lies that he's told, trying to justify what was found on his computer at work. I think the silliest thing I've heard from Anna in this entire thing is she said that if Donald Trump was still in office, that Josh would not have been prosecuted at all, which is silly because I've just got to say, the first time I think it was May or June of 2019 when the original investigators, the state investigators, got a hold of the fact that he was downloading this stuff. And then by November 2019, not TSA, what am I saying? Homeland Security got involved. They're the ones that showed up in Arkansas, closed his office, raided his computers, looked at everything. So all this occurred under Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. But somehow Anna has decided that Joe Biden is 100% responsible for the fact that they're going after Josh, even though this initially started under Donald Trump. You're not going to see presidents getting involved in prosecuting people for this kind of crime. This is something that started at state level. They brought the feds in once they realized the scope of it, and the federal government is better set up for this because it does involve downloads from other countries and that sort of thing, and the dark web. So I don't see where she's getting this conspiracy theory of hers that Joe Biden is causing this crap. Where is it? Here's something that I found really curious in the article. It said, Let me read this. When the raid was carried out and before Josh knew what authorities were investigating, he allegedly asked agents, "What is this about? Has someone been downloading CP?" I think to me that sounds like Anna is a fool. To me, that sounds like almost an admission of guilt to actually say that to the police officers, or the federal officers, as they were carrying out the raid and they were looking at everything. Oh, thank you, Tiny Dancer. Exactly, Tiffany. Why would Joe Biden want to take Josh down? Josh isn't that important. He is a small town used car salesman in reality. Now, he was on a reality show for a while, but that does not make him some kind of huge federal target that a president is going to go after. I'm not real surprised, like I said again, that she's sticking with Josh because in Quiverful, you're taught you stick by your husband no matter what he's done. And we all saw, well, those of us that read Debbie Pearl's book, Created to be a Helpmeet, know that Debbie Pearl and others, and we know that the Duggars have some following if they have followed the Pearls before and done their things. So anyway, long story short with that is Debbie Pearl wrote a chapter in a book about what do you do if your husband is using CP or he's doing CA. And she said that if your man is involved in that you turn him into the police. You turn him in, and then you stand by your man. You hold his hand. You go to jail. You bring his children and let him see his children in jail. You do everything like that, and then when he comes out, you make sure that your children are not living in your household, but he's allowed to come back to your household. And you welcome him with open arms after the jail sentence is served. I dispute that. If you have a husband who has done something that awful and he goes away for a long time and there's copious evidence, you have to do what you have to do to protect your children, not your man, your children. And that means making the hard decision to go ahead and divorce the husband. Or if you're not a fan of divorce, just separate. Don't allow him back. Don't allow him access to your children again. That's one thing about these guys. They never stop. They just move on to other victims. I think I was reading statistics once that said for every one of these guys that gets caught, there are 250 other encounters on average that they do that they don't get caught for. So that's pretty crazy if you take those numbers and look at it. Yes, they do. Small towns, you will teach it. You put your children out for the man. You send the children to your parents' house, your sisters, whomever. And Anna is really manifesting that right now as she's spending so much time in the, quote, guest suite at the Reaper's house, spending nights and a lot of time with him and letting David and Priscilla have her children for so long. It's kind of sick. In that world, is it Anna's fault that Josh is into CP? Yes and no. It's no on the realistic side. No, that's not his fault at all. But remember that Michelle and Jim Bob reacted during the Ashley Madison reveal and said that only a wife can do certain special things for a husband, and they implicitly, in a kind of roundabout way, not implicitly, what am I saying? They, in a roundabout way, hinted all the way around that they blame Anna for that. The thinking in that theology is that if you're giving your husband the type of nasty relations that he wants, the very type that he won't stray. And as long as you're offering him sex as often as he wanted, you never turn him down. They think that that is okay, and that's what keeps men from straying. I can tell you from having lived a long time and seeing a lot of these situations and having been married a very short time to a guy who was definitely not faithful. If a man is going to cheat, there's no amount of you giving him sex that's going to stop that. No amount, because it starts here. It doesn't start in the groin. And if they're a cheater, that's what they're going to do. And they're generally not going to do it just once. I always feel sorry for the ones that will fool around with these guys and then marry them later after they divorce a wife and say, oh, my first wife never understood me. Let's get married. Because what happens to most of them is the guy cheats again with somebody else. It just ends up killing the victims so the victims can't testify and send them back to jail. That's what scares me about those people. You are right. Oh, Tiffany, she's pregnant right now. She's due almost any day now. And that's really crazy too. Cheaters cheat no matter what. You're exactly right. And I feel sorry for the kids too. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard on those kids because now they're being pushed away from their mother. They're with family members. They're with Anna's family members. But you and I know that kids do better with their own parents. With Anna, it's like that Megan girl on The Real Housewives that dated the MLB player. I haven't seen that, so I'm not really sure. I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I watched a couple episodes of Welcome to Plathville and was just like, no, let me out of here. I feel bad for anybody in that family, those kids, because that mother is a hot mess and that father seems like a creep. I can't watch that show. It's just too triggering to me for the way church I went to for so many years. He cheated on his wife with her, apparently, allegedly. Oh, that's not good. And then they got married and then he cheats again. I'm sure that's what happens because that's what happens so many times. These guys that are the type that cheat, they cheat and they cheat and they cheat. And they will tell you, oh, baby, I love you and I would never cheat on you. And the next thing you know, get their pants off and they're in bed with somebody else. I don't think there's any type of sex that Anna could have given Josh that would have derailed this whole thing. This is something that started back in his childhood when he was not allowed to express any type of sexuality when he was going through adolescence, which all of us have those feelings when we're teenagers and even early teens, because that's the way we're wired biologically. That's how we're created. We're created to be sexual beings. But if you tell somebody that to do that or think that is so incredibly wrong that they have to repress all of their urges, they come out somewhere squishy, gross, and not so good. And we've been seeing this with Josh, with all his craziness, the things he's been going through, the things he gets involved with. So there's that. Anna has talked about how hard it was for them to go through the Ashley Madison reveal. And I'm sure it was. And Anna has said this, in my heart, when I got married, I vowed to God first and then to Joshua, for better or for worse, till death do us part. I pray that through all of this, I would be an extension of God's love to Joshua, that I would love him and forgive him and wait patiently and allow God to work through our hearts. My prayer, my heart's desire is for our marriage to be restored, she said. Well, staying in a situation with somebody who is clearly abusive. I don't know if he's abusing Anna, but he has certainly not been faithful to her. He's done these horrible, squishy things. Small Town Joel, I think it's going to take a lot of therapy for Anna to realize that these things are not her fault. It's going to take therapy. And what I find ironic about this, about her family members taking care of her children, is when the Ashley Madison reveal happened, She had family members that were urging him to leave and divorce Josh, saying, look, we'll help you with the kids, we'll help you get reestablished, we'll help you all the way around. And she turned him down, said that about it's her responsibility to forgive Josh and to try to heal the marriage. You know, there's some things that can never be healed or fixed. And even if you manage to glue them together, you always see the cracks. Once she's talking about marriage vows, so once someone cheats, they're broken a vow. They've broken that vow and proven to you that they hold you in low esteem. And they can say all they want, oh, I love you still, even though I cheated. And they may think they do, but I am not a big fan of that. If you love somebody, you love them enough to try to stay faithful to them. I wonder if she truly believes all that. I don't know if she truly believes all that or not. She believes that's what's required of her, and that's just as bad because she believes that these requirements are something that everybody in her world must do. She's going to stick to that. That's all she's known. She was raised in a quiverful household. She married into a very prominent one. So she's going to stick with what she knows. No, even if it hurts her or even if she cries a million trillion tears, she's going to stay with that until she gets deprogrammed, basically. I don't see that happening. Let me see if I missed anything. Yeah, it talks about in the article her own siblings, some of her own siblings urging her to leave when the Ashley Madison reveal happened. According to People magazine, the younger sister texted Anna saying, please let me buy you and the kids plane tickets and you stay with us. And Anna refused to take her up on that. Her brother Daniel, oh my goodness, wrote on Facebook, I won't stop trying to get that pig out of our family. Oh my goodness. So this is something that she has had to deal with over and over and over and over again. And I don't think that there's any easy way out for her on this. She's going to have to come to that decision that this is enough is enough is enough. And that's not going to happen until she actually realizes that it's not her. It's not her not giving him sex. It's not her not giving him the right sex. It's just whatever is going on with Josh. Josh, from his repressive childhood. I wonder if Josh is a psychopath or sociopath or narcissist. I'm not sure he has actual feelings for other people, not even Anna or his kids. What do you think? Southpaw, I think that's a possibility. I mean, somebody who's a narcissist, especially, tends to just go their own way and do their own thing. And you know that in the Duggar family, Josh was the golden boy. He was allowed way more latitude in everything, every area than his younger brothers and sisters. Since he was the golden child, and they swept all of his wrongdoings, all the things that happened to him that he did that weren't so good, they swept them under the rug. And a lot of times when you have families that enable one person and never hold them responsible and never make them face their failures, it does create narcissists sometimes. And that would make sense that he would be somebody who thinks that society's rules do not apply to him. And he's a narcissist. I mean, I can't see anything. I can't see anything but that. Looking at the way he, and that stupid mugshot where he looks like he's swacked out on Xanax while smirking. It's just the worst thing in the world. Just the worst thing in the world. According to the article, it's two separate sources have told the Sun that Anna moved into the Reavers' home. Staying in the mother-in-law suite, according to this. Oh, I'm not sure how pregnant Anna is. I think she's rather far along in her pregnancy. I don't think Anna will ever leave him. She'll wait 40 years for him to get out of jail. Well, I agree with that too, Southbug, but I think that if she does that, at least the children will be grown and out of the way before he has any chance to ever come to any type of parole or anything like that. So that's one good thing. If he is convicted, he'll be out of the house long enough for even the baby she's carrying in her womb right now to be grown and be out of the house. So when he comes out of jail, he'd be coming out to a childless home at that point. 40 years, let's see, Josh is 33 now. That would make him 73 years old if he serves every day. He would be, I would hope, harmless by then. But it does scare me too, the fact of him going to jail, because our criminal justice, the whole criminal justice thing needs to be redone. Prisons are run for profits now, and there are dangerous places. I would hate to think that he would go there and something would happen to him. And we all know that prison culture, people that harm children are not held in very high esteem by other inmates. And somebody who does that, who is high profile, who's a famous person, who's famous, I would not be surprised if we saw something really bad go down if he did go to jail. I don't want that to happen. I think it'll be awful. I think that the whole criminal justice system needs redoing. Prisons should be a place where, while people are serving their time, they get to better themselves, they get to see what they're doing, they get whatever help they need, and they come out better, smarter, more educated people who are repentant, who've made repentance for the things they've done. And I think that we could have video of Josh doing these things and he would still deny it, because that's just the way he is. That's his MO. He just denies anything that's being said about him and tries to gloss over it and pretend it never happened. And I think this time that's not going to serve him very well. I think if he goes to the courts and he says what I keep hearing that he's going to say, which is that his parents never got him proper help the first time, that's true. But at the same time, it's his personal choice to have done these things. No one put a gun to his head. No one forced him. I think he's also going to scream and cry that there were other people working at the dealership, and it would have been entirely possible for another person to put that on there. I had an experience like that when I worked at a place that had multiple offices, but all of the computer stuff ran through one central office. And I worked part-time for them doing their computers, making sure everything ran right, doing various things, doing some data entry, just doing a whole bunch of different things related to the computer. One of the offices, the main office, a husband and wife team worked out of it. And yeah, I agree totally, Southbug. Christians should be leading the charge on reform. It needs to happen as a human rights issue. Anyway, I worked at this big place. The husband and wife worked in the same office. It was them, myself, and occasionally somebody else. Well, one day I came in after having been off for a couple of days because I was sick, and the wife confronted me. She said, "Can you explain to me why there's all these visits from the office computer that you use for," and she named all these porn websites. I mean, some really nasty ones. And of course, I had to go back in history and look at all of this, and I was able to show her that the porn sites were visited when her husband was logged into my computer on days when I wasn't even in the office. Needless to say, I did not stay there after that. I left very shortly thereafter. It was a bad situation. I wasn't going to get in the middle of a feuding husband and wife, and they had been feuding for ages, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. I think that Josh is going to try to say the same crap that this guy Tommy said, which is, I don't know anything about that. Anybody could have downloaded that on my computer. I didn't do it. I don't know who did it. I'm being persecuted, which is the same thing that Tommy said. And I had to go in the history and prove that it was him. It was not me that did these things. And one thing I know about the feds is they have access to the best computer labs in the US. So I'm thinking they're probably going to prove that wrong right away. They're just going to show Josh logged in to these websites from the computer at the time, even though he's going to say the whole 9 yards about how he was set up and somebody else did this. Yeah, Southbug, prison reform really needs to happen. And that was one thing. At one point, even the Republicans and the Democrats were on board for this. This was a issue that everybody agreed on that cut across. And lately, it seems like it's just been dropped. I don't know why. It needs to happen. Prisoners need to be treated humanely. Prison should be a place of transformation into better, not transformation into worse. We don't want people coming out with extra skills on how to get away with crime, which a lot of prisons are that, I'm sorry to say. So there's that's involved with it too. So who knows what's going to happen. And I've rambled on for way too long, considering I was just talking about one silly article in Mail Online that quoted the Sun. So if the Sun is the source, who knows how true that it is. So these are just my opinions. I'm just riffing on what I read earlier off of the British tabloids websites. Who else worked at the car lot with Josh? That I don't know. That would be interesting to know. I want to say at least one of his brothers did. That's exactly what Julie, that's exactly what his mugshot looked like. Like he was thinking, do your worst, I'm not going to jail. I'm sure he's, to this day, thinks he's going to get away with this. And it'll be a big shock to him if he's found guilty. And I think it's likely he will be, because that particular branch of the government has a 97% conviction rate, because they're usually very good about making sure they have all their ducks in a row and they know everything there is to be known about the crime, and they have enough evidence, and not circumstantial evidence, but hard evidence to go after the person. They're very thorough. And I don't think he stands a rat's chance, quite frankly. I think that he's going to go to jail for this. And poor Anna's going to be left holding the bag with no way to support those kids while he's in jail for a long length of time. It's a tragedy all the way around. It's a tragedy for the kids that were exploited to make the things that he was looking at. For his own kids, they're going to lose their father in the home. For those kids, not having support, not having financial support. I don't know what Anna will do. Their religion doesn't believe that women should ever work for any reason whatsoever. So I hope Jim Bob Duggar is prepared to open his wallet and give generously to his eldest son's wife in a situation that he had a hand in creating. I think look into it his arrest photo, and I've said this before, and I don't doubt it a bit. He looks like he's probably full of Xanax or something else to keep him calm. He's calm and he's smirking. And I don't think that's going to play well with the jury either. If this goes to a jury trial, they will see that smirking photo. And none of this is going to play well with a jury in conservative Arkansas. And it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way at all. I mean, if the Duggars had given Josh, if they had given him consequences for his bad behaviors through the years, we wouldn't be here. I'm pretty sure of it because with a lot of these kind of guys, and I don't mean SA guys, I mean guys who have had problematic behavior for years. They keep escalating until they're caught, and that's the thing. He's escalated to a pretty extreme now. I don't know how he could escalate any farther unless he went off to the Dominican Republic or another foreign country that has a lot of that thing sort of stuff going on. And I would hate to think about him doing that to a child. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. I'm really tired. I'm full of meds, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Duggars. Not the Duggars, but I should say Anna and Josh Duggar so much. The other Duggars, yeah, I'm not going to do endless Duggar videos on every member of the family. Just leave those poor people alone. Let them struggle with this on their own because I know they're probably all hurt and upset by what's going on and shocked. Okay, you guys have a good evening. I got to go to bed. It's late. It is real late. Oh, are most of the families in this religion willing to do as the Duggars and cover up the things Josh has done? Yes, it's very common. I mean, you'll see that in when pastors abuse too. He just covered up and they didn't tell the victim, oh, well, you must have sinned. You must have wanted this. A lot of times they'll shame the victim into silence and cover it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, small town Jewel. We're gonna rest. He just took a 3-hour nap, so it's gonna be a while before he goes in here. But I haven't had the nap. I need to go to bed. Night all. Okay, and okay. And for some reason, my stream is really, really, really messed up. So I'm going to end it the only way I can do when it messes up that bad.